Thank you for joining us for today's Super You podcast. On today's show, we have Abby Wambach. She is a two-time Olympic gold medalist, FIFA World Cup champion, and the highest all-time international goal scorer for male and female soccer players. She was the United States leading scorer in the 2007 and 2011 Women's World Cup tournaments and the 2004 and 2012 Olympics. She's an activist for equality and inclusion, and she has her new book out now called Wolfpack. So it's an honor to have her on the show.
I'm Al Roker. I'm here with Equalman.
Word of mouth is now world of mouth.
Because someone asked, what's the social play? What's the mobile play?
Our clients and customers are telling us, hey, we love what you're doing here. Are you doing more of that today? What I'm telling you here today, I'm not suggesting we get rid of face-to-face. Digital leaders are made, not born.
I think that that's a common denominator by people that can reach levels of success that I've been able to reach. I know what I do well. Like I know what I do well. Do not tell me what I do well. Tell me what I suck at. Seriously. Because that is how I want to approach my life. I want to approach my life in a way that I keep challenging myself. I keep bettering myself day in and day out. And so those are the coaches that I always connected the most with, are the ones that were a little bit harder on me, that were a little bit, had a higher standard for me. Because, I think we all know what we do well. Sometimes it's hard to take criticism, and sometimes it's hard to, even if it's constructive, it's sometimes hard, but, know yourself and know that any kind of criticism, good or bad, is important for all human beings to be able to experience and be able to deal with emotionally.
My college basketball coach has a saying that tough love is the only true love. And it's so hard to find people that actually will give us that tough love because, well, the good thing is in life that most people are very nice, they're pleasing, they want to make you feel good, but that doesn't make you better. And so what Abby's indicating is exactly right, is try to find some people in your life that can give you that tough love. And I found some tricks to help get critical feedback because people just don't want to deliver critical feedback to you. One tip is, okay, you've read my book. What's the one chapter you'd remove? So you actually indicate, hey, I'm sure you enjoy it, but what's the one, if I made you remove something, what's the one thing that you need to remove?
Make failure your fuel. Here's something the best athletes understand, but seems like a harder concept for non-athletes to grasp. Non-athletes don't know what to do with the gift of failure. So they hide it, pretend it never happened, reject it outright. They end up wasting it. Listen, failure is not something to be ashamed of. It's something to be powered by. Failure is the highest octane fuel your life can run on. You got to learn to make failure your fuel.
It's interesting how Abby correlates the business world or non-athletes to the athletic world, because when you think about athletes, if you want to get better, you're going to take on the toughest competition. So that if you wanted to get better at tennis, if you had a tennis match coming up, a tournament, you'd play the toughest players you could leading up to that. And who cares if you failed, meaning you lost to those players, because it's going to actually make you stronger. So I think in athletes' DNA, as Abby mentions, is they understand this concept. But somehow, even if you're a former athlete, and most of us are at some level, is that we forget this concept when we go outside of the athletic playing field. And we got to remember that really failure is your fuel, or as we like to always say, it's fail fast, fail forward, fail better, or evaluate your failure, meaning that you don't sweep it under the rug, as Abby mentions. You actually talk about it, evaluate what occurred, what caused that failure, so it can actually make you stronger. That provides the fuel so you get better.
Lead from the bench. Imagine this. You've scored more goals than any human being on the planet, female or male. You've co-captained and led Team USA in almost every category for the past decade. And you and your coach sit down and decide together that you won't be a starter in your last World Cup for Team USA. So that sucked. You'll feel benched sometimes too. You'll be passed over for the promotion, taken off the project. You might even be finding yourself holding a baby instead of a briefcase, watching your colleagues get ahead. Here's what's important. You're allowed to be disappointed when it feels like life's benched you. What you aren't allowed to do is miss your opportunity to lead from the bench. During that last World Cup, my teammates told me that my presence, my support, my vocal and relentless belief in them from the bench is what gave them the confidence they needed to win us that championship. If you're not a leader on the bench, then don't call yourself a leader on the field.
In life, we're going to wear many, many hats. And so it's important for us to be comfortable in whichever hat, whatever season we're in, because it's really all about the team. And so it's around our family, it's around our friends, it's around our team. And so it's really important for us to understand that whether sometimes we're the captain and sometimes we're just an integral part of a team and function, we have to do our job the best way that we can do it. And also when you think about culture, when I've been blessed to talk to a lot of these top CEOs backstage, they always share the same belief that you could have the top performing salesperson, but if that person's a cancer within the organization, you've got to immediately get rid of that person. And that's why you see in athletics as well, a lot of them will take on this aging veteran, even though there's a youngster that's probably way more talented than that person, but they understand the importance of culture on that team. So it's more important for the team dynamic to take that veteran that can actually provide leadership from the bench. That's it for today's Super You podcast. Thank you for listening. Please join us next time for Lady Gaga.